Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, starting with the 144,000 prophets, and the rest of the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, staying in the Holy Spirit, and keeping the faith of Yahweh Shai day in and day out. So just some quick breaking news. Just got this alert. It says, breaking, former President Trump is allegedly working on a military roundup of immigrants by activating a private red state army that will go into blue states, deporting millions, including migrants who protested 48ers' invasion of Gaza, according to Stephen Miller. All right. So what I did was just, went on Google and try to see if I could find more information on this, breaking news. And I came across the actual interview, which is coming from PBS NewsHour. This came out, I think, yesterday. Yep, February 12th. So, we're going to play this little, this portion of it. It's about 5 minutes long. I'm going to stop, at certain points to make points on it. But this is clearly a indication of Jacob's trouble, okay, as the scriptures, say that a time was coming where it was going to be, like no other time. All right. And remember, even during the time of, I think it was Claudius, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go to Acts 13th chapter. Salakia, Acts 18. All right. This is the book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius, which was a Caesar during his time, had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. All right. So there was as he says here, it says they had left Italy when Claudius Caesar deported all Jews from Rome. And we know that Babylon the Great is, fashioned after ancient Rome. All right. And here we see the same thing taking shape now, because of this whole immigration crisis and, the open border policies that, Biden administration is allowing, which it's all for the purpose, it's all for the purpose of these elites that they have, to really come down against Israel. All right, because this word of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going forth and going out. Now, something that I was thinking is that they could, Trump, if he win, and if and when I should say he does, get back into presidency, and they start this whole massive deportation of immigrants, that doesn't mean that it's just going to stop at immigrants. All right. This is something that the Lord is stirring up because of prophecy, and he could very well use this as a reason to, come at Israel as a whole. Because remember, even during Trump's first presidency, he threatened to use the military to go into Chicago because of all of the, the crime that was, happening over there. Right. So he basically said that he would, bring the military into the inner cities of Chicago and, militarize Chicago to stop the crime amongst Jacob. OK, so him saying, this using activating a private red state army to go, throughout all of the states, even the blue states, this can turn also into a civil war. All right, because you may have certain blue states that have the notion of, no, we don't want your National Guard of, a red state coming into a blue state and deporting the people that are there. All right. So this can legit turn into a civil war between Democratic states and Republican states, all the while having a great wrath coming down upon Israel. Because a lot of those immigrants, of course, there are other nationalities that are coming over here, in the southern border. But the mass majority of the immigrants that are coming here are Israelites. OK, so, without further ado, let me play this.
State University.
On the campaign trail this weekend, former President Donald Trump made clear that if elected again, he'd pursue more extreme immigration.
Let me see if I can speed it up.
Immigration policies, including mass deportations of millions of people.
It's a lot.
On day one, I will terminate every open border policy of the Biden administration, and we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. We have no choice.
To break down the potential impact of Trump's agenda, Laura Barone-Lopez joins us now. So, Laura, what has the former president laid out in terms of his immigration plan if he were to win this year?
So on that mass deportation plan that Trump has talked about, including this weekend, we know some details of how it would be carried out from Stephen Miller, the architect of Trump's first-term immigration policies, who remains a close ally and advisor to the president. Stephen Miller talked about how they would carry out that type of deportation plan to right-wing personality Charlie Kirk last fall.
And in terms of personnel, you go to the red state governors and you say, give us your National Guard. We will deputize them as immigration enforcement officers. The Alabama National Guard is going to arrest illegal aliens in Alabama, and the Virginia National Guard in Virginia. And if you're going to go into an unfriendly state like Maryland, well, then it'll just be Virginia doing the arrest in Maryland, right? Very close, very nearby.
So there, Stephen Miller is talking about how they would federalize the National Guard to carry out the mass deportation plan through comments from Stephen Miller, through comments from the former president himself, reports, as well as aligned policy groups. We have a picture of the type of immigration policy that the former president would implement if he were to win a second term. And so the list that we have is not an exhaustive list, but it includes building large-scale camps near the southern border, a renewed...
They see that? Right. It says Trump's immigration plan, one of the first things he would do was build a large-scale detention camps near border. Okay? Detention camps. And what is a synonym to a detention camp? All right? Something that we've, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, have been prophesying was going to, come in America. Now, they had all of those Q camps during the EMIC, right? That they was building in various different states. So, all of a sudden those just disappeared, right? It stopped being talked about, but those can very well also be used for these detention camps, because they don't just have them in near the border. I remember specifically they said that they had one built, if I'm not mistaken, it was in Tennessee, right? And they had one in upstate New York. All right, a lot of these states had passed laws to be able to detain citizens indefinitely. All right, and they used the whole medical, the whole EMIC as the reason for doing so. But those things are still on the books. Okay, so let's keep listening.
A renewed Muslim travel ban, the end of birthright citizenship for U.S.-born children of undocumented immigrants, and creating a federalized army of red state National Guards, like Stephen Miller referenced.
Let me just try to see if I can slow it down. It's going a little bit too fast.
Is that legally possible, even federalizing red state National Guard?
So technically, yes, it is. I spoke to Joseph Nunn. He is from the Brennan Center for Justice, and he is a legal expert on U.S. military activities domestically. And he said that this is legally possible for the president to do.
Donald Trump's proposal to send the National Guard from red states into blue states in order to enforce this deportation program could only be accomplished through invoking the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act makes the president the sole judge of whether a given situation warrants invoking the act. In other words, an insurrection is whatever the president says is an insurrection.
You hear that? That an insurrection is whatever the president says is an insurrection. So he can invoke the Insurrection Act based off of, what he feels, is needed to be done in order to MAGA, in order to make America great again, right? And just like during the time of Nero, who did Nero blame for the problems that were happening in Rome? He blamed the so-called Christians, which were Jews who believed and followed Yahushua, all right, the Messiah. So the scriptures also speaks about an insurrection. So, hey, you can't tell me, right, that the scriptures are not true, man, because this is exactly what they're talking about being possibly done once Trump gets back in office. And remember, he said that as soon as he gets in office, day one, he is going to, invoke the largest deportation in American history. All right. And that may not just be of immigrants. Once again, it can start off like that, but they can use this as to say, or anybody who has any type of so-called, what they call extremist views, anybody that has any type of disdain toward, Babylon the Great, anybody in America that doesn't hold the patriotic values, and who do you think also is going to be tied to that? All right. What do you think is also going to be tied to that? Because ultimately, this truth is something that they want to stop being spread, because this is what is causing, this is their biggest fear, is Israel waking up, turning back unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and repenting and calling upon the Lord to deliver us. Okay, so this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. See, it's being kindled right now, but Jake is not, aware of it. Our people are blinded, right? As the scripture says in Hosea, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. They're not aware of how this devil is really about to come down upon them. And they think, this is just the migrants. Nah, Esau's about to incorporate. He's going to group all you Israelites up. Anybody that doesn't have any type of, that doesn't show unwavering loyalty to Babylon and to Esau's way of ruling, you're going to be deemed a potential, DT. And especially if you are Israelite, they're already making Israel, the face of the problems in America. And now you adding in immigrant Israelites? Yeah. Nah, this great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Right? So you're going to be forced to announce your loyalty to Babylon the Great in its ways. And then that is, going to be, solidified through that covenant, which is that charagma. Remember, Trump back in 2016, he spoke about a tracking system to track all, people, to track immigrants that are coming in and out of America. So he already had it on his agenda to be able to track and trace people coming in and out of America, so-called immigrants. Right? Verse 69, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So the ones that consent, all right, the ones of Israelites that say, they're going to trust in the shadow of Egypt, that they're going to, lean upon that broken reed, you're going to be had in derision and in reproach. Now, what is Esau going to do? He's going to present it in a way carnally that your back is against the wall. Carnally, if you don't bow, right? If you don't bow the knee to the image of Baal, if you don't worship the beast, then you're going to be hauled off. You're going to be put in this detention camp. you're not going to be able to see your family. You're not going to be able to know whether or not you're even going to be ever come out of this detention camp. And you're going to have a lot of our people, just like when the jump shot came out. All right. A lot of our people took it unwillingly, but they folded under pressure. OK, and that is the time the scriptures calls it of what? The hour of temptation. But as it says here, you're going to be trodden underfoot. You're going to think that consenting is going to actually put you in a better position. But in reality, it's going to put you in the worst position possible. Verse 70, and there, this is the point, and there should be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. You see that? Because it's not going to just stop at immigrants. All right. And really, when you think about those that fear the Lord, who are the ones that actually have the fear of the Lord? In history, it was the Israelites. OK, we are the ones that had the fear of the Lord because, as it says in Psalms, the 147th chapter, as for their judgments, right, they did not know them, the they being the other nations. The Lord only gave his statute. He showed his word unto Jacob and his statutes and the covenants unto Israel. Right. He hasn't dealt so with any other nation. So, yeah, in every place and in the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Jacob's trouble. Right. And the elder apostle Tahar, coined this year the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, where we're seeing how this can because it was, once again, it's not just I mentioned it. It's not just Israelites of the northern tribes that are coming across that border. There's a lot of southern tribe Israelites that are coming across that border as well. Right. So now these devils, how are they going to be able to distinguish who is a citizen, who isn't? When they see, just a so-called Latino or so-called black person, African American, right? They gonna say, oh, well, we can't tell. So we got to round you up. We got to take you. We got to process. We got to put you through the process. And then we got to find out whether or not you really are. Because it's not like people just walk around with their, passport or their social security number. Right. So it says they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. They shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. You see that? So this massive deportation, yeah, like I said, it may start with immigrants, but that's not where they're going to stop at. Because that's not prophecy. Because the Jacob's trouble it's not just saying, oh, Jacob that are not citizens of America. No, it's Jacob's trouble in totality, all around. And these devils, they already have this mindset of being in this, ready to go to war against Israel. Right. Look at what they say here. See, these are just some people that commented on this tweet. Me voting for Trump in 2016, me voting for Trump in 2020. See, they're ready to go. Let it play. Right? Are they taking volunteers? So you got people that are not even a part of the National Guard that wants to help out. They want to do this. They want to be, ones that that are helping this whole process. It says, good. They have to go. Most of my generation and younger can't even afford to buy our own houses. We don't have room for freeloaders in this country. You remember, Esau always used to like to use that saying, if you don't like it here, go back to your own country. See? And this is where you get the scriptures talks about friends shall fight one another, like enemies, Egyptian versus Egyptian, city against city, right? Neighbor against neighbor. Because you may have a lot of so-called immigrants that been here for decades that just never end up getting, actual citizenship. They're going to be a part of that as well. Yeah, I'm already voting for Trump. You don't have to keep selling me. This would be amazing. It's time to deport these people and end this invasion. I hope this is true. We can't keep ignoring this invasion and sending them to sanctuary cities. Help Democrats win elections by increasing the population of blue states. It's all about census. See that? So you have a lot of these MAGA citizens that are 100% with this. All right. And it's not going to be just against, the recent migrants that came here. Let's keep going.
Important for
Come on.
Cunard is a proud supporter of public television.
Bear with me.
On a voyage with
to reform the Insurrection Act to put in place safeguards against abuse, because as things stand, there are quite literally no guardrails.
Let me just run this back a little bit.
Enforce this deportation program. Donald Trump's proposal to send
activities domestically. And he said that this is legally possible for the president to do.
Donald Trump's proposal to send the National Guard from red states into blue states in order to enforce this deportation program could only be accomplished through invoking the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act makes the president the sole judge of whether a given situation warrants invoking the act. In other words, an insurrection is whatever the president says is an insurrection. That's why it's so important for Congress to reform the Insurrection Act to put in place safeguards against abuse, because as things stand, there are quite literally no guardrails.
So as Joseph Nunn said there, former President Trump has pretty wide authority to institute the Insurrection Act in order to federalize National Guards and be able to send them into other states to round up migrants. And the last time, Amna, that the Insurrection Act was invoked was 1992. It's rarely used. And before that, the only time it was ever invoked over the objection of states and state leaders was in the 1960s.
Laura, what would something like that mean for the military?
Joseph Nunn of the Brennan Center told me that to even do something like that, you would have to have wide mobilization, large-scale mobilization of military, of the National Guard, and it would require these members of the military who have other duties.
You see? So now, when brothers have been, and not just, just brothers, but you got a lot of people that videotape train loads of certain types of military-grade, vehicles being moved all across all across America, right? You have certain training exercises like Jade Helm 15. That's only one I can remember, but there's been a bunch where there's been military activity within certain cities, metropolises that are being conducted, right, in America. And now you're seeing why all these things were taking place. Now you're seeing why these things were happening, because it's coming to the time where those training sessions and those mobilization of those vehicles are about to be put to use. All right. This is what we are warning about. And it's clear that this is what it's leading unto.
Mind you, and the National Guard is key in helping with duties abroad, that they would then be taken away from that in order to carry this out. I also spoke to a former commissioner of Customs and Border Protection who said that National Guard are not trained in the way that border agents, in the way that ICE agents are trained to be able to tell what people's status are, whether someone can be detained. You
see that? National Guard are not trained in the way that ICE or Customs and Borders are trained. So if you got National Guards coming, as it says in the scriptures, like madmen sparing none, right? They're not trained in to be able to tell what somebody's status is. All they're going to see is, oh, you're not you look like you could be an immigrant. You look like, a so-called Mexican, a so-called Latino, so-called a black person, right? Because you got a lot of, Haitians and Jamaicans, that West Africans that are coming over here as well. So they don't have training in the ability to be able to tell whether or not you are actually a so-called American citizen.
And they are trained, ICE and Border Patrol agents, in the civil and criminal laws that enable them to carry out immigration law. And that's not something that National Guard is prepared for.
Laura, Mr. Trump also made some rather eye-popping statements about America's commitment to NATO allies. What did he...
All right, that's going into something else. So, yeah, the writing is on the wall. Okay? Let me get this in the 73rd verse. It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they should be tried as fire, as they should be tried as gold in the fire. See, because when these things take place, the Lord is going to set up a standard for his elect. He's going to set up a standard for the ones that kept the word of his patience. The rest of you Israelites that, you know, did not take heed to the warning, right? Did not repent, did not believe the gospel. You're going to be left to your own vices. You're going to be left to Esau and his vices, actually. Okay. Second, Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Because why? Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Those prisons are, you know, those detention camps, right? Those ICE centers. Okay. Because once again, this tweet, let me see. This tweet said people that protest, you know, including immigrants who protested 48ers invasion of Gaza. Now, I mean, we're not actually out there protesting the 48ers invasion of Gaza, but we speak the truth about who those 48ers are, about who Esau Edom is. And that is something that about what Babylon the Great is, and the judgment that Yahweh, all right, the God of heaven and earth, through his son Yahushua, who is the Lord and Savior and the kinsman redeemer, okay, of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, what he is going to come and do pursuant to Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, to Babylon the Great and Esau Edom. And those things, this gospel is deemed as what? As a threat, right? The truth is deemed as an extremist ideology. So if they're going to protest people deport people for protesting the invasion, then you can only imagine what they got in store or desire to do for the gospel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Which is why it says here, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right. And this is why you got to use this time period right now, this grace period right now, to build up your minds. All right. To build up your spirit so that you can endure these things. Right. That's why Yahushua said, watch and pray, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape these things and stand before the Son of Man. All right, but we do know that the Lord is going to lift up a standard, and I'll end it out with that, for his elect. Okay, Isaiah 59, verse 19. So shall they fear my name. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, right, like a madman sparing none. The spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Okay, and that's why we trust in the power and might of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, some trust in horses, some trust in chariots, but we will remember the name of our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, he shall set up that standard for us in the time of trouble. Okay, as it says in 2nd Esdras, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same, right? Oh, hear, 2nd Esdras 16, verse 74. Oh, hear ye, my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble, Jacob's trouble, are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. All right, so with that, Lord willing, it's edifying unto the elect. Till next time, shalom.